Post-training notice. National First Class Registered Exorcist. Chapter 97. Reinforcement. The faint sound of splashing came from outside the moat. The 4 boats reached the shore, and as soon as they docked, a brilliant light suddenly shone out of thin air, enveloping Wang Lei and Jian, who were standing in the boat. The subordinates standing behind Wang Lei all turned into identical black Yuan Yao. As I expected, Wang Lei said. It does keep devils out. Jian began to shrink, and his face began to melt oddly. He changed again, into Dinghai, who painfully held back his bellows, his entire body trembling. Finally, he took on the form of the Doubty, yet he did not fully turn into the Doubty. In the middle of his head appeared the human face of Dinghai. And along the Doughty's entire body, there were inlaid hundreds of human faces, their flesh pale and ashen, their eyes shut. It looked as if each of them was a corpse-less head embedded into this ancient, ferocious beast's body. Even Wang Lei felt a little uncomfortable looking at that. The Doubty's struggling slowly ceased, and it set its 4 paws on the shore. With practiced familiarity, the Yuan Yao loaded a gun with bullets and tossed it. Wang Lei caught it, tucking the gun into the pocket of his suit, before he took another gun and gestured for all of them to get to the shore. So, this is where the sacred land is, Wang Lei said. Ho, back then, Hu Zhenyang could really keep a secret. He didn't cough up where Yao Ji hid for all those years even when he was dying. The Doubty began to walk towards the empty city. Wang Lei said, Lord Dinghai, please don't be hasty. We'll be able to find it sooner or later. The most urgent thing right now is to undo the seal over the sacred land for the blood devil. I don't need you to remind me. One of the human faces on the Doubty's legs suddenly opened its eyes, and it spoke in a hoarse voice, its eyes watching Wang Lei. Wang Lei had no choice but to lift a hand, indicating for it to do as it wished. As the Doubty left, Wang Lei let out an almost indiscernible jeer of laughter. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. According to the city plan, the entire city form the character. The upper left corner is a dry lake. Zhi Ziaduo said, plastered up against the wall as he drew out a map on some paper. I basically remember the layout. The upper right corner has a tower, which has a big bowl at the very top. The bowl opens upwards. I don't know what kind of a thing that is. Fengli remarked, it's like some animal's nest. Langdog, bowl. Kita said, I want to pee. Is this a key national protected site? Can I pee against the base of the wall? Chao Ben said, you learned some pretty decent sketching skills. Zhi Ziaduo. The lower left corner is a rectangular palace. Zhi Ziaduo ignored the other 2, speaking only to Xiang Cheng. I feel like, the outside looks like a large stone that was cut very neatly. The lower right-hand corner has a row of ring-shaped structures. Do you remember the way? I only remember that my mother brought me to the main hall before, Xiang Cheng said, reaching out to draw a circle around the center of the character with a finger, before pointing at it. Right here. Are the golden arrows in the main hall? Zhi Ziaduo asked. I don't know. Xiang Cheng was a little confused, and he looked back at Zhi Ziaduo. Behind them, Kita and Chao Ben were waiting patiently. Zhi Ziaduo was more or less a little uneasy. At first, they had only planned for themselves to come in, and hadn't expected that they would rope their friends into it as well. If it was only him and Xiang Cheng who ended up finding the sacred land, then he might be a little more assured. I'm all right, Chao Ben said. I originally came to help you anyways. My goal is to find Dinghai through you all, and even if I don't purposefully seek him out, he'll definitely come find you. Kita shrugged and said, I also don't mind. My leg's much better, and I can walk now, though I still can't move it vigorously. I would hate to slow you down, so if you need to move quickly, feel free to leave me behind at any point. I won't be of much use either way. Fengli said, see Gui hasn't followed us in, so I can help you all scout out the road ahead. No need to mind me. Let's go, Xiang Cheng said in reply. Everyone will go together. Which way? Zhi Ziaduo asked Xiang Cheng. If the enemy hasn't come in yet, that's all right, but as soon as they get inside, we'll have to be very careful. We must do our best not to run into them. Why are you so certain that we'll run into the enemy? Xiang Cheng asked. Isn't that how it always goes in movies? Zhi Ziaduo asked. Xiang Cheng began to chuckle, and he pointed at the upper left corner, saying, "We'll go here." Feng Li scrambled up the wall to scout the path ahead, while the rest of them began to descend the stairs. The spiraling stairs and the path went up and down, twisting and turning through the air, passing through every corner of the city. The floating stairs connected up with the mountain itself, and was attached to the top of the cavern via chains. They reached the end of the stairs. In front of them, there was only one way forward, and that was to set foot on the stone slabs. Thousands of stone slabs hovered in the air like individual swings, one after another as they formed a line that stretched endlessly ahead. In the distance, they curved, before leading down into the depths of the city. Around them, phosphorescent light glowed and dimmed, lighting up the cavern. Hundreds of thousands of balls of light floated, bobbing and hovering through the belly of the mountain like the stars in the night sky. "We'll go from here," Zhi Ziaduo said, pointing out the way. "There's a point where it circles around, and we'll go to the stalagmite across the way, then we'll head down from the stairs next to it." "What exactly is this for?" Kita asked. "What did the Yao clan set up so many swings for?" "It's because their forms are all small," the fox said, leaping along the rope ladder as it landed on a stone slab. "It's much faster to run on these." "I feel like it was because there were no techniques to make floating ladders in the ancient times," Zhi Ziaduo said. "During the period of time that the sacred land flourished the most, there must have been bridges held up by supports formed of energy. These swing-like steps were probably a safety passage." Xiang Cheng went first. He set foot on a stone slab, and after standing firm, hopped to the next one. As the rock swung gently back and forth, he steadied himself. "Can you make it over?" "I should be able to, but I'm afraid Kita might not be able to." As soon as he left the ladder and the ropes, from the instant he set foot on the steps, the stone slab began to sway. Zhi Ziaduo hurriedly grabbed the chains on both sides, hunching over to drop his center of mass low, before hopping onto the one that Xiang Cheng was on. After him came Chao Bin, followed by Kita. As soon as Kita got on, the entire stone slab began to swing back and forth. "Xiang Cheng, be a little more careful." The 4 men and 1 dog carefully walked across the stone slabs. About halfway across, Lang Dog glanced down, only to whimper. "Don't look down," Xiang Cheng said. They were all suspended high in the air, and if they were to fall, they would break every bone in their bodies. Zhi Ziaduo glanced upwards worriedly. The chains had already hung here for almost 1,000 years, and the corrosion due to the rust made it so that they could break at any point. When they set foot on another step, the sound of the links rubbing against each other came along with the gentle swaying. At any moment, they might hear the sound of the iron spikes in the roof of the cavern giving way. "A little lighter," Zhi Ziaduo said. "Only one person should stand on one at any given time." "What exactly is this damned thing?" Kita found that beneath their feet, there was a steady, rising glow that was heading towards them. The fox hopped back and said to them, "There's this kind of light everywhere." Xiang Cheng said, "To be safe, don't touch them." A ball of indigo light was slowly approaching Chao Bin, and the light ball seemed to be able to instinctively react to the presence of humans. As it floated past them, it seemed to bob just a little closer to them, whether that was intentional or not. "It sensed us," Zhi Ziaduo said. "What symbol is this? Is it a seal? There's something inside." Kita saw that inside one of the light balls, there was a monkey-like thing. He turned in his spot, and that ball of light brushed past Kita's body, slowly drifting by. Before, they had been too far away, so they hadn't been able to tell what was inside, but now, looking at it closely, each ball of light seemed like a womb that contained specimen-like animals glowing with light. The animals were oddly shaped, each of them coiling up in a ball. "A seal," Zhi Xiaoduo said. "This is a kind of very powerful, ancient seal. My guess is that when the sacred land was invaded, there was a powerful exorcist who sealed away all of the Yaoguai here." ******. The Daodi walked along the vast street devoid of any people. The balls of light that floated down from the sky to the ground gathered around it, and the faces embedded across the Daodi's body opened their eyes at the same time, studying the balls of light all around them. A ball of light floated in front of the Daodi, and Jinghao's face let out a howl as it studied the ball of light oddly. The face then opened, and its gaping, bloody mouth ripped itself open in an indescribable way, swallowing the light ball whole. A lump swelled in the Daodi's throat, and the ball of light was swallowed into its stomach. The Daodi's entire body glowed with a blue light, and it spread the wings of the black-winged great pen, looking left and right. "Het!" A strange smile appeared on Jinghao's face as he swallowed another ball of light. Black devil chi began to seep off his body, enveloping all of the glowing balls of light around him, pressing them to his body. The hundreds of faces woke up and began to greedily devour them. Just as the faces across its body opened their mouths and began to chase down the balls of light, one of the faces managed to bite through one. The shape of the animal within appeared, and it swiftly ran away. Before that face could consume it, the animal fled in the blink of an eye. The Daodi, however, didn't care. It spread its wings and went dashing forth, hunting down even more balls of light. The monkey that had escaped squatted on the wall, looking up at the sky, which was filled with moving balls of light. "Milord, what are those?" a Yuan Yao asked. "Those are your old ancestors," Wang Lei replied. 1,000 years ago, to protect the Yaoguai that had been injured in the sacred land, an exorcist sealed them all away. The monkey Yao looked down at its body, which was translucent enough to see through it to the bricks of the road beneath its feet. It seemed to remember something, and it bared its teeth and howled as it leapt forward, grabbing one of the light balls out of the air. The monkey Yao was in great pain as its body glowed, and the ball it was hugging shook vigorously, before it suddenly exploded and the Yao soul within it escaped its confines. A hissing snake flew out of the ball of light and spread its wings, looking around for any enemies. The monkey Yao leapt away and grabbed the next ball of light. One by one, the balls of light exploded, and they bounced off each other, as if they had started a chain reaction. High up in the air. Zhi Xiaoduo, I thought I heard something. Kita said, "Watch out behind you." Xiang Cheng grabbed Zhi Xiaoduo's shoulders and bent them backwards as a huge ball of light passed by right in front of them. A huge, red Yuan had been imprisoned inside it. The fox Yao stopped in its tracks. The huge Yuan had its eyes closed, and it was sunk in a deep sleep. "What Yaoguai is that?" "Yang He, an ancient Yao beast in the classic of the mountains and the seas." "Let's go, quickly," Zhi Xiaoduo said. "The Yao Han in this area are increasing. If someone touches them, will that release them?" the fox Yao asked doubtfully, turning around. "I don't know," Zhi Xiaoduo replied. "But it can evidently sense the presence of living things. We'd best avoid them." Just as they were about to speed up, a glowing, bird-shaped Yao Han suddenly rose from the ground, flying towards the ball of light that Yang He was in. It spread its wings and wrapped itself around it. Yang He suddenly opened a pair of blood-red eyes. The ball of light exploded, and there was an enraged bellow. Everyone yelled at the same time. The first thing Zhang Cheng did was to turn his head back and grab Zhi Xiaoduo's hand, but as soon as Yang He struggled out of the ball, it leapt towards the hanging ladder. It grabbed the chain and hopped onto the stone slab that Zhi Xiaoduo was standing on. Xiang Cheng was sent flying away. The chains on 4 more stone slabs went swinging, and the group was immediately scattered. Xiao Bin fell backwards, while Xiang Cheng had to leap forwards thanks to the collision. Yang He's long arms reached out, pushing the chain, and the already fragile chain immediately snapped. Zhi Ziaduo let out a loud shout. Xiao Bin swung along the hanging chain above his head, and with a flying kick, sent a stone slab in the direction that Zhi Ziaduo was falling. Xiang Cheng turned and leapt towards him, and in midair, Zhi Ziaduo grabbed a chain. With a shua, his palm skidded swiftly against the chain, and it hurt so much that it felt like it was on fire, but Zhi Ziaduo hung on with a death grip, hanging off the very end. Yang He let out an enraged bellow at Xiang Cheng as it beat its own chest. Xiang Cheng let out a bellow in response. Ah! Xiang Cheng charged forward and crashed into that huge Yuan's abdomen, sending it off the hanging bridge. But in the blink of an eye, there was another beastly roar above his head, and a panther-shaped Yaogwai came crashing down with an earth-shaking thud. Whenever its 4 paws landed on a hanging slab, the entire swing bridge began to collapse in 2s and 3s. Lead it away. Kita leapt backwards swiftly, and the panther Yao turned and pounced on him. In midair, Kita turned as he gathered up all the strength in his body, and dashed backwards, leading the panther Yao away. Xiao Bin and Xiang Cheng each stood on 1 stone slab. Xiao Bin sent a strong kick at Yang He's legs, while Xiang Cheng swiftly hammered its temple. With a pained roar, Yang He hopped off the stone slab, grabbed the metal chains, and began to slide down swiftly towards Zhi Ziaduo hanging off the end. Zhi Ziaduo was hanging in midair, his palm dripping with fresh blood. The metal chains swung, and if he were to let go at all, he would become a smear of meat paste on the ground. In the distance, Xiang Cheng shouted, "On 3." Zhi Ziaduo looked up, only to see that huge Yuan pouncing towards him. However, Xiang Cheng leapt up off another stone slab, leaping towards that chain that Zhi Ziaduo was hanging off from. With his momentum, he brought the chain with him as he left his original path, drawing out an arc through the air. "Let go!" Xiang Cheng roared. Zhi Ziaduo yelled internally, "If I let go right now, what are you trying to make me do? Are you hoping to take care of my corpse for me, but since it's you shouting I'll be letting go just like that?" Zhi Ziaduo let go, and the metal chain sent him flying a straight 5 meters out, sketching out a parabola in the air as he fell towards the tip of a structure in the distance. The Yang He lost its aim, and in midair, went plummeting right down. It crashed headfirst into the outer wall of the building, and it landed on the ground, making a muffled thud as it splattered into a mess of blood and flesh. Zhi Ziaduo went rolling across the balcony of the building, skinning his elbows along the way. He staggered to his feet, but just as Xiang Cheng was about to slide to the bottom of the chain and swing his way over, another panther Yao high up in the air gave up on Kita and pounced towards Xiao Bin and Xiang Cheng. "Watch out behind you!" Zhi Ziaduo shouted. Xiang Cheng swiftly turned back to look. Xiao Bin was standing on the last complete stone slab, and with a somersault, dodged under the slab. The panther Yao's claws, however, went swiping right for Xiao Bin. "You go first!" Xiao Bin shouted. "Don't mind me." Xiang Cheng tossed out the metal chain, catching the panther Yao around its throat. He gave it a fierce tug, pulling it down. The last metal chain couldn't hold up to that, and it snapped. Xiang Cheng stepped onto the falling stone slab and leapt towards Xiao Bin, who was hanging off the slab. With one hand, he tightly grabbed Xiang Cheng's wrist. "Are you all playing at being flying trapeze artists?" Kita yelled. "Run, quickly. There's more and more Yaogwai. Don't mind me." Zhi Ziaduo shouted anxiously. "Let's regroup at the plaza." But Xiang Cheng shouted back, "Wait for me right where you are." Xiao Bin borrowed the momentum of the swinging stone slab to toss Xiang Cheng towards the hanging ladder some 5 meters away. Xiang Cheng poured all his might into propelling himself forward, and his hands grabbed the stone slab as he vaulted up onto it. With a short run, Chao Ben leapt towards Xiang Chang, who caught him. Quickly now! Xiang Chang turned back to shout. Kita, you find another way down. Xiang Chang and Chao Ben dashed forwards across the stone slabs, heading forth to save Zhi Ziaduo. ******. Outside the mountain. Qi Wei and Zhou Wanyuan looked absolutely disheveled as they crossed the forest. It was almost nighttime, and the evening mists lay heavily across the land. A flashbang rose from amidst the mountains, lighting up the mountains and vast land. All divisions, please pay attention, Zhou Mokuo said. This is a special order from the Exorcist Committee. After you get the signal, please gather at the location the signal points to. I need to go find my dad, Zhou Wanyuan said. We have to find Xiang Chang first, Qi Wei said. Teacher Zhou has seen 100 battles. He'll be fine. He'll die. Zhou Wanyuan shot back. Qi Wei's arm was wrapped with bandages. He replied, his duty is to gather the members of the Exorcist Committee, and to get to where he is, we'll need to pass through a valley filled with Yaoguai. We won't be able to make it through. No way, Zhou Wanyuan insisted. You go find Xiang Chang on your own. Be a little more rational. Qi Wei shouted, enraged. This place is full of Yaoguai, they've filled the valleys and mountains. How are we supposed to get across? Zhou Wanyuan's phone rang. The blood devil is here, Zhou Mokuo's voice said. It is currently directing its subordinate Yaoguai to form a blockade around us. You two must go in immediately. Find Xiang Chang as fast as you can, and figure out a way to reseal the sacred land. I will lead the exorcists in buying you all some time. ******. In the mountain's belly. Zhi Ziaduo looked around him. The base of the building was filled with Yaoguai. Did Fengli have no way to control them? That was true, these were Yao from 1,000 years ago, so they might be even older than Fengli. What could he do now? There were more and more Yaoguai that had escaped their bonds appearing across the entirety of the sacred land, and if he was discovered, he would be done for. This place was too exposed, and it was easy for flying monsters to find him. He had to find a place to hide first. Zhi Ziaduo discovered that there was a round hole on the platform, and when he looked down, he realized it was a ladder. With that, he scrambled down the ladder, searching for a place to hide. This was a very odd structure. There were doors and windows, and even a spiral staircase. Zhi Ziaduo looked out the window. Glowing blue balls of light bobbed all around him. It was as if he had entered an odd, fantastical dream. The outside looked like a white, long night. I'll wait here for Xiang Chang, Zhi Ziaduo thought. But there came a crash from the platform, as if some monster had fallen out of the sky and smashed into the roof. Zhi Ziaduo thought to himself, not good, and he was about to run, only to find that the outside was completely full of Yaoguai running rampant. The voice from up on the platform was growing louder and louder, and the sound of something heavy being dragged along the ground approached the staircase. Right after, a huge, red snake with a single horn, came circling down. Zhi Ziaduo. Zhi Ziaduo shrank a bit towards the bottom of the staircase. You just woke up, so you probably aren't in a rush to eat someone, are you? That's not right, it slept for so long, so the first thing it would do after waking up would obviously be to eat someone. What can I do? The boss snake was very cute, so maybe the snake will also, let me go. Zhi Ziaduo believed that perhaps, he himself had a constitution that made him rather affectionate with snakes. This kind of huge boa probably wouldn't mind him, who was so very harmless. Maybe it's in a hurry to leave, so it won't pay attention to me. But just as Zhi Ziaduo was thinking that, the single-horned red boa's tail curled around the railing. It stretched half its body out, and its snake head immediately poked in front of Zhi Ziaduo's face. Its tongue flicked out to sense the air. Zhi Ziaduo. Zhi Ziaduo waved at it, with a might as well try mentality. Suddenly, the snake's mouth opened 180 degrees, and Zhi Xiaoduo instinctively rolled to the side. The snake's mouth instantly struck the spot where Zhi Xiaoduo had once been standing. Zhi Xiaoduo yelled loudly and bolted out of the door. Outside, some Yaoguai noticed him, and they charged towards him. Ah! Zhi Xiaoduo shrieked. He couldn't tell what kind of ghost was coming towards his face, and he immediately grabbed that Yaoguai's front limb and did a shoulder throw. It was right then that the single-horned red boa shot out through the door, its mouth gaping open. The Fuyao that Zhi Xiaoduo sent flying got stuck in its mouth, and it rolled about on the ground, slamming wildly into things. There was the loud report of a gun, and Zhi Xiaoduo wrapped his arms around his head and ran. The monsters surrounding him rolled around on the ground from the bullets that had been fired by the sweep of that machine gun. One hand grabbed Zhi Xiaoduo's collar, dragging him several meters away. Then there was the pang of a shot, which struck the pouncing tiger Yao right in the middle of its forehead. The tiger yelped in pain and fell to the ground. Zhi Xiaoduo, thank you, thanks. Zhi Xiaoduo and Wang Lei looked at each other. Promising young man, Wang Lei chuckled, we meet again. Hello, executive, Zhi Xiaoduo replied, the corners of his mouth twitching. You've really come at such a good time, Wang Lei said in reply. He pressed the gun against Zhi Xiaoduo's back and continued, you've really helped me out a great deal. If you please. Xiang Cheng and Chao Bin leapt off the last stone slab, landing on a platform next to a stalagmite that was holding the cavern up. In the distance came the sound of repeated gunshots. Xiang Cheng startled and turned to look. A small version of the nine-tailed heavenly fox came flying towards them, and it landed at the edge of the stone platform, saying, Wang Lei has captured Zhi Xiaoduo. I don't dare to follow them too closely. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Outside the mountain. Zhou Wanyuan's forehead had been deeply furrowed this entire time as she climbed up to the waist of the mountain. From time to time, she would look worriedly into the distance. Teacher Zhou has experienced 100 battles, Qi Wei said, comforting her. He'll be all right. You don't understand, Zhou Wanyuan said. Qi Wei pointed out, if the situation isn't right, then all he has to do is retreat. There's no need to force himself to hold out. Zhou Wanyuan replied, 12 years ago, when I was 16, when he came to Mount Wu, Tonggu had already divined for him that the Mount Wu affair was a destined tribulation in his life. Qi Wei. Zhou Wanyuan ran a hand through her hair, saying impatiently, that day, I personally saw him and Mama arguing. Mama told him not to go to Mount Wu, because in his report, Uncle Xiang and his family. They had no choice, Qi Wei said. I heard my dad say before that as soon as Xiang Cheng's mom was taken back to the sacred land, the Yao clans would no longer be able to be controlled. Zhou Wanyuan was silent. Qi Wei rose to his feet and said, let's continue forward. Wang Lei and the rest of them must have found another entrance. We have to find an entrance as well, so that we can get in as quickly as possible to meet up with Xiang Cheng. A bird flew through the trees, and Qi Wei and Zhou Wanyuan's expressions changed. Sigui? Qi Wei asked. Sigui flapped its wings as it flew into the sky. It circled, turning towards the northwest, as it guided Qi Wei along. The two of them hurried to catch up, before Sigui suddenly vanished. As Qi Wei climbed over a shrub, he suddenly sank downwards. He let out a loud shout, and Zhou Wanyuan caught up, shouting, Qi Wei. Are you all right? Qi Wei had fallen into a cavern, and some sort of a mark had been made inside it. Sigui was flying deeper into the cavern. It flew to a rockfall that blocked the tunnel, before it turned to the right. Qi Wei understood, and he turned his head back to shout, Zhou Wanyuan. Get down here. There was an underground river here, and a wind blew along the passageway. Zhou Wanyuan opened up her hand mirror, and a beam of light shone into the darkness. The underground river ended in a waterfall, so Chi Wei tied a rope and climbed down the cliff. There were intermittent thundering booms underground, and Si Gui came to a stop somewhere in the darkness. Chi Wei splayed out on the ground, pressing his ear to the ground to listen. The sounds of shaking came from underneath. He then opened up his Swiss Army knife and struck it against the ground several times. A crack appeared on the ground, and Chi Wei pulled out a steel pin from within the crack, which he found odd. "What's this?" Zhou Wanyuan asked. "Looks like it's something to hang chains off of," Chi Wei said. Chi Wei widened the opening a little, and Si Gui immediately squeezed itself in. Chi Wei took Zhou Wanyuan's mirror, and with it in hand, reached his hand into the crack, borrowing the mirror's ability to reflect the light to look at the surroundings. Someone else's ceiling. Chi Wei suddenly realized. Below them, they could already see the sacred land. At the top of the cavern holding the sacred land, an unnoticeable crack widened a little. On the ceiling that the stone swings hung from, a chain and its stone slab fell, falling onto the tall tower, where it shattered into pieces. The yowbirds that had been circling around the top of the tower were alerted by that, and they all looked up, before flying high into the sky. Soon after, the fire dragon, with Chi Wei and Zhou Wanyuan on its back, entered the huge underground cavern. However, as soon as they entered, a bright light exploded all around them, and the devil-vanquishing glow swept over them like a tsunami, making the fire dragon vanish with a pang. The two of them shouted at the same time as they plummeted down from hundreds of meters in the sky. Chi Wei grabbed Zhou Wanyuan's wrist in one hand and with a huala, he scattered the talismans with the other. The talismans shot in every direction, but nothing happened. Zhou Wanyuan shrieked and stepped squarely on the back of the bird that was rushing toward them, before she dashed forward, raised her handbag, and sent a black falcon falling to the earth, golden stars spinning in its eyes. Chi Wei snagged the metal chains hanging in the air, dragging Zhou Wanyuan along as they slid swiftly down. They fell onto a stone slab, and Zhou Wanyuan shouted, "Watch out!" The chains holding the stone slab snapped. Amidst all the other things he was doing, Chi Wei grabbed another chain, and the two of them swung towards the bird nest at the top of the tall tower. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Xian Hezi, his attire disheveled, his face streaked with dust and dirt, crawled deep into the cavern, before he lay there, gasping for breath. In his arms was a parachute. When he had fallen, he couldn't get it open no matter what, and he almost died from the fall. He tugged on the string a few times more, and the parachute exploded open with a pang, smothering his face in cloth. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. The street was silent. Zhi Xiaoduo was greatly startled by the nearby pang, while Wang Lei looked left and right suspiciously, but did not see anything out of the ordinary. "Keep walking, don't try any fancy tricks." Wang Lei pressed the handgun up between Zhi Xiaoduo's shoulder blades. "Even if you don't point the gun at me, I'll also do so," Zhi Xiaoduo said. "Isn't it tiring to keep your hand raised all the time?" Wang Lei chuckled coldly. "I, however, am afraid of you. If I relax my guard, at some point, I'll bring some unfathomable trick down on my own head. It's best for me to be cautious." "That's true," Zhi Xiaoduo said, nodding in agreement. "Even Hu Ziniang met his demise at my hands." Wang Lei let out a cold grunt before replying, "It brought that on its own head." End chapter.